Hi everybody. I wanted to bring you a short video this morning. I'm sorry if you hear the TV in the back. My husband's watching TV. I'm making some oatmeal raisin cookies for my husband. And what I do is I alter my recipes because he can't have the salt and he really shouldn't have the white sugar either. So I try to alter my recipes to make them as more healthier as I can. What's in here though is some white flour, which is not really good for you, but it's not, terrible. It's not as bad as say white sugar or all the salt. So right now all I have in here is 3/4 cup of white flour and 1.5 cups of quick cooking oats. And to that, I also added a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting in some cinnamon. And let's see, we get 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. So we're going to put that in. Move my camera a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, we're going to put in a 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. That takes care of the cinnamon. And the next thing that we're going to put in, I got some butter here, and this calls for a 1/2 cup of softened butter. So 1 stick is butter. 1 stick is a 1/2 cup. And I realize that butter is not all that good for you, but it's a lot better than margarine. So we're going to go with the butter, and I'm going to stick this in the microwave right now, and I'm going to warm this up, so I'll be right back. You can always leave your butter out overnight, or you can, put it on the counter and leave it out for a couple hours to get to room temperature, but I didn't have any, so I'm just going to stick it in the microwave. So I think the next thing that I'm going to do is I am going to use a little bit of brown sugar. Brown sugar is not the best for you, but it's better than white sugar. So we're going to use a little bit of brown sugar. Let me just turn this camera up a little bit. Okay. So we need 1/4 cup of brown sugar. We're not going to use that much. I'm just going to put enough in there for just a tiny bit of sweetness. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a tablespoon, and that's it. So we got some brown sugar going in. And instead of using 3/4 cup of sugar, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some natural raw honey. This is the Southeast Raw Unfiltered Honey from Kirkland. So I'm going to use some of this instead. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, I'm going to take my 1/4 cup measurement here, and I'm just going to fill 3 of these. And that's, I don't even think I'm going to do 3. I may do 1. I'm going to do 1/4 of honey instead of the sugar, because honey's really sweet. And we've already got the brown sugar in there. So I'm going to just do 1/4 of this. 1/4 cup of honey instead of 3/4 cup of sugar, because that's a lot of sugar. Like a lot of sugar. So we'll use 1/4 cup of honey to replace the 3/4 cups of white sugar. Let me put this in the sink. I gotta check on my butter. Where my butter is. Okay, that's nice and soft. So next we're gonna do is we're gonna put our butter in. Oops. We'll put our butter in. I have one more wet ingredient that I have to put in, and that is vanilla. So I'm going to put some vanilla in, and that is 1/2 teaspoon. So I'm going to get my 1/2 teaspoon measuring spoon, and I'm going to put 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla in. Okay, so that's our vanilla. And I'm also going to put in 1 egg. So let me get an egg. got a nice farm fresh egg from one of my girls here, so I'm going to put that in. Try not to get any shells in. Perfect. Okay, we have an egg. And let's see, I think we have everything, and the only last thing that I have to put in is the raisins. Now you could put as many raisins in as you want or as little as you want. Remember that these are also sweet as well, so this is going to make up for the lack of the sugar that you didn't put in. So I'm just going to eyeball it and put some raisins in. I don't really have, I mean, they have a measurement on here, but I'm just going to eyeball it. All right, so I put some raisins in, and now I have to whisk this all together. Okay, I have our cookie dough all mixed up. Everything is all mixed together, and that's what it looks like. Looks like that. And then what I like to do is I have a cookie sheet here with some parchment paper. And usually what I do, Toby, can you stop that, honey? Thank you. Usually what I do is I just take a piece of parchment paper and I scrunch it all up, and then I put it down because it just makes it easier and it makes it lay flat. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a teaspoon, and I'm going to take my rings off. And what we're going to do is we're going to just take teaspoonfuls. Actually, yeah, no, we'll use a teaspoon. We're just going to take teaspoonfuls of the dough, and we're going to roll them into little balls, and we're going to put them on our cookie sheet. And space them about 1 inch to 2 inches apart, because they will rise because of the baking soda. And I guess I'm making them about, oh, I don't know, about that big. About that big. Now these cookies, they're not going to taste like the processed cookies from the store. So, you know, and there's the other thing that I didn't do is I did not put the salt in because my husband does not need the salt. And honestly, I mean, I guess, you know, salt is put in everything, and it's put in to enhance the flavor. But I don't honestly think you need the salt. I mean, you know, there are a lot of things that you actually don't need salt for, as long as you use other things to add flavor, you know, like different seasonings. But even with this, I have the vanilla in there, the cinnamon is in there, I have a little bit of the brown sugar that's in there, the raisins are in there. So this, you know, this will be a very sweet, maybe a hint of spice with the brown sugar. And that's the kind of cookie that it'll be, and it'll be good, and it won't be as unhealthy because you don't have all that white sugar in there, you don't have the salt in there. I probably could have used an alternative flour, which I do have an alternative flour. I think I have almond flour in there, but I didn't, for some reason, I didn't think about it, and I just grabbed the white flour. I'm going to be making also probably some banana bread, but what I'd like to do with that is try and make it a little bit healthier, and I might use the almond flour for that. This cookie doesn't want to go together, probably because of the raisins. So I might use the almond flour for the banana bread, and we'll see how that comes out. Well, that one's a little small, but that's okay. So I'm just, you know, I'm trying to come up with ideas for things that my husband can eat that aren't, you know, so unhealthy. He does eat fruit, vegetables. He eats fish twice a week. So, you know, but you got to have a little bit of variety or else it gets boring. And I completely understand that, because years and years ago when journey started when I started getting sick and I had to come off wheat products. And this was back, oh gosh, this was back in the very early 90s. Wheat free back then was terrible. Everything tasted like cardboard and nothing had any flavor at all. Back then, all you really had was like arrowroot and things made out of arrowroot powder and things made out of rice. That was it. It didn't taste very good. It was hard as a rock and it was awful. Wheat free has come a long way, but everything that you buy from the store is still loaded with chemicals and just really bad stuff for you. So I'm trying to come up with a variety of foods that he can eat that will give him, you know, something satisfying to eat, like a treat. So, all right, I'm gonna go wash my hands and then we'll put these in the oven. Hands are washed. No, let me see. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I got 15 cookies out of this recipe, so we're gonna put these in the oven. And we're gonna put them in a 375-degree oven for about 7 to 9 minutes, and then when they're done, I will show you them. Okay, our cookies are done, and they look like this, and they're soft, and they're chewy inside, and they're yummy. So this is how I modify an oatmeal raisin cookie for my husband's diet. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that it was helpful. If you did enjoy it, please like and subscribe, and I'll be bringing you more cooking videos in the future. And thank you for watching.